and at x equals 3. Okay, so there we know that that's where it's just a plain straight slope. Okay, so we can also see it's negative from negative infinity to 2, negative infinity to negative 2, and from 3 to infinity. Oops. Negative infinity to negative 2, and from 3 to infinity. Okay. And we can also see it's positive from negative 2 to 3. Uh-oh. X equals negative 2 to x equals 3. Okay. So as long as we know those three things, we can graph the actual derivative. Okay. So you have x and you have y. Now let's say this is our negative 2 and this is our 3. Yeah, bring it over a little more. Okay. So we know it's going to equal 0 at x equals negative 2 and x equals 3. So this is our f prime of x. So it's negative 2 and 3 is going to actually equal 0. Let me bring that up some. Okay. Now we also know it's negative from negative infinity to negative 2. So from negative infinity to negative 2, it's going to be negative. So it's going to be in the lower part of the graph. Okay, so we'll actually save that for last because it's positive from negative 2 to 3. So from negative 2 to 3, you know it's going to be positive. And we know it's negative again from 3 to infinity. So from 3 to infinity, it's going to be all below the x-axis. So this will actually be your graph of f prime of x. Okay, so it all depends on the direction of your original f of x. Of course, it would look a little neater than that, but that's the general graph of it. Okay, so we can do another one. All right. Now with this one, they want you to identify the graph of f prime of x. So if this is your original f of x, the first thing you want to do is always look for where the slope is equal to 0. Yep, so you know it's 0 at negative 4. Uh-oh, not x equals 0. F prime of x equals 0. At x equals negative 4. Oops, clean that up a little. Okay, so when you're looking through your options, the minute you see one that does not cross at negative 4, then you know you don't even have to worry about picking that one. Okay, this one doesn't cross at negative 4. Well, this one's already filled out, so. But this one doesn't cross at negative 4, so you don't even have to worry about that one. This one doesn't cross. Let me zoom in a little bit. Move out of the way. Move, move, move. There we go. This one doesn't cross at negative 4. Don't even have to worry about it. This one crosses at negative, is it negative 4? Yep, this one crosses at negative 4, and this one crosses at negative 4. All right, so now we just have to look at it's positive from negative infinity to negative 4. So f prime of x is greater than 0 on negative infinity to negative 4. Okay, so it has to be above the x-axis from negative infinity to negative 4. Here, from negative infinity to negative 4, it's below the x-axis, so it's negative. But here, from negative infinity to negative 4, it's positive, and from 4 to infinity, it's negative. So you know that this is your f prime of x. All right, so any questions on that one? Yes?
How did we deduce that again?
Oh, no problem. You want to go by, first, if at that point, f prime of x equals 0. So you wanted to pick a graph where your f prime of x would actually equal 0.
Okay.
So you know these two at the bottom, it didn't equal 0. So if it didn't cross at negative 4, then you know those aren't even options.
Right.
Okay, so now, once you've kind of reduced those, you want to look at where's your f prime of x positive. So you know it's positive from negative infinity to negative 4. Okay, so since it's positive from negative infinity to negative 4, any graph of your f prime of x would have to be above the x-axis, because that's where your y values are positive.
Oh, I see.
Yep, so here, you know it's not here because from negative infinity to negative 4, it's below the x-axis, so it's negative. But here, from negative infinity to negative 4, it's above the x-axis, so you know it's positive.
And then the rest is negative.
Yep, exactly. So from negative 4 to positive infinity, if you notice that's below the y-axis.
Okay,
So it's all negative.
And that's basically what would happen if you would take the derivative of it, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So when they give you a list of them and say, okay, what's the graph of the derivative? That's how you would come across it. Yep. So you just want the positive, 0, and negative slopes, and then you just kind of graph from there.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So any questions on that one? All right, let's do a couple more. Okay, so here, which one is a graph of f prime of x? Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, sorry, got it there. Okay, so we have these options here, and just like before, the first thing you want to do is look for where it's equal to 0. Okay, so it's 0 at negative 3 and 1. Okay, so we know f prime of x equals 0 at x equals negative 3 and x equals 1. So if those graphs do not cross 0 at negative 3 and 1, you already know they're not even options.
So the first one's out.
Yep, the first one's out because it doesn't cross at 1. Third one's out because it doesn't cross at negative 3. Yep, and the fourth one's out. So really, you don't even have to do anything else because that's the one that crosses at negative 3 and 1. If you look at your slope, it's positive from negative infinity to negative 3. And it's also positive from 1 to infinity. Okay, so if you look at this one, it's above the x-axis from negative infinity to negative 3, and it's above the x-axis from 1 to infinity. And then you see it's negative from negative 3 to 1. From negative 3 to 1, it's all below the the x-axis. All right. So any questions on that, or hopefully it's kind of making sense? All right. Okay, so let's do one more. And you want to find the graph of f prime of x. All right, so we'll see here. Oh, is that the same one? Nope, it's not. Okay. Thought I printed up the same one. Okay, so here we know that f prime of x equals 0 at 4 and at negative 1. Okay, so all we have to do, we have to look for any graph that crosses the x-axis at 4 and -1. Okay, so this one doesn't cross at 4 and -1. But does it? Can't really see. Nope, it doesn't. So this one's out. This one does. Actually, you see, I already filled that in by mistake. Oops. But you can see at 4 and -1, this one doesn't cross, so you can get rid of that one. Nope, this one doesn't either.
So for questions like that on a test,
Mhm.
do we have to explain why? If one is wrong, one's bad, which one's right?
Oh no, for these, if you just give like one quick explanation, like the slope is 0 at this point and this point, then that's good enough for me.
Okay,
So yeah, if you just wrote that, that would show me, okay, you didn't just take a wild guess, you actually had an approach to it.
Well, wild guesses don't count.
You have to show me something, just a little something to show me you knew what you were doing. Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much it. So usually before the test, I don't like to get into anything super heavy. So we will stop there.